Touch that dial. You're now listening to Debate Talk Free Radio.
Brother B.A. Ben Abraham, and I'm your host of the Man Up segment on Debate Talk For You platform. The objective is for all brothers from different walks of life to come together, link up, and build on matters concerning all various stages of life. If anyone would like to reach out on concepts and ideas, you can reach Brother B.A. at radicalrhyme1984@gmail.com. Again, radicalrhyme1984@gmail.com. Tap in. Let's build. Shalom. Shalom.
HebrewWay.com, high-quality custom Israelite apparel store. The place to find scripture-based attire for men, women, and children of all ages. We have a wide range of t-shirts, hoodies, sweatshirts, caps, beanies, and bags, available in a full range of sizes. Also, the ideal place to find Israelite gifts for family and friends. HebrewWay.com is geared toward awakening men and women and especially the youth worldwide. Try our uniquely crafted collection with free shipping on eligible items. Help spread the word of the Most High. Visit us at HebrewWay.com. That's HebrewWay.com. Shalom.
Yo, greetings everybody. It's your brother B.A. Ben Abraham out of Sacramento, California. First and foremost, I would like to thank the Most High God, known as Yahweh, the Supreme Intellect, in the name of His only anointed messenger, known as Yeshua HaMashiach, also known to the Gentiles and the rest of the world as the Christ. I'm going to allow our co-host to introduce himself. Go ahead, Ak.
Yeah, shalom, Ms. Bakar, anonymous Hebrew. Want to give all praises to the Most High Yah, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Nothing really big. I'm excited about tonight's show. Excited to hear from the family out there. Shalom, Sal. Shalom to my brother B.A. Let's get it popping.
Yes, sir. And tonight's, for those who are listening for the first time, you are now tuning in to the sounds of Debate Talk For You. And Debate Talk For You presents the Man Up segment. And tonight's discussion, and another thing, this is the season finale. This will be the last episode for the season. And we'll be going down for break for the next couple of months. We'll start back up in September. So, but if you would like to check out the rest of the episodes we've done so far this season, you can go to the YouTube channel or go to Debate Talk For You /blogtalkradio.com. But tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about love shall wax cold. Again, love shall wax cold. And this is based on the scripture in Matthew 24 spoken by the mouthpiece of the Most High, known as Yeshua the Christ. But I want to say something real quick. As we live in the last days, and a lot of us are aware of that, while we're in this last period of this oppression, a lot of us have come to those terms, and the Most High has revealed that to some of us. I am convinced that we are on the last dead end of this oppression. And the Most High is getting ready to intervene once again. And this time when He intervenes, there's going to be a whole lot. There's going to be various amounts of changes going on. So prior to these times coming that we're experiencing now, it was spoken by the prophets, and it was also spoken by Christ Himself that the love of many shall wax cold. So what we're going to do, we're going to turn to Matthew 24. This type of behavior not only is it relevant in the secular world. He said the love of many shall wax cold. We see that everybody who live in the world, not just those who call themselves set apart, but this will also fall over and spill over into the so-called elect or the righteous or the religious world as well, whether you be Christian, Hebrew, Nazarene, or the various titles or whatever you personify to call yourself in this day and age. This is something that is common, and this is something that we tend to see that's very often. Now, Miss, you want to say anything before we get into Matthew 24 real quick?
I think you covered most of it. I just think it's important for us to really realize what the brother is talking about. On one, we're talking about actually seeing prophecy fulfilled right in front of our eyes. But it's important to know that if you're watching this or if you listen to this and you can understand that the love of many really has waxed cold, it's time to do a self-evaluation. It's time to do a little gut check and try to make sure that you're on the right side of things. And I think that'll become more clear as we get through tonight's show. Go ahead, Aki.
What we're going to do, we're going to go to Matthew 24. We're not going here to push any type of doctrine because we tend to notice from time to time when Matthew 24 is used as propaganda to promote something, and we're not promoting that. We're promoting what's actually fact that we are experiencing nowadays. So what we're going to do, Matthew 24, and we're going to pick it up in verse, let's see. This is when the disciples were asking, they asked the Messiah, what is going to be the sign of his coming, of his second coming. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick it up in verse 9. You know what? No. Let's go to verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes in divers places. And all these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted. It shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. Notice he said, my name's sake. And then shall many be offended. We're going to talk about that today. And shall betray one another. We're going to most definitely talk about that today as well. And shall hate one another. And here on the Man Up segment, we tend to notice, or we're watchmen. We watch from a distance. We see all the activity that's going on within the Israelite community on the internet. And it's a beautiful thing to see brothers and sisters, and yes, I said sisters for those who have a phobia and hate for women. We see it a blessing, a good thing to see people are interactive and building and having conversations and coming together. But we still see the behavior of a few that tend to spill out. And what I mean by that, I see behavior that's not cool, that's contrary. But let's keep going. I'll read verse 10 again. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, that means there's going to be so much iniquity or lawlessness, it's going to be the norm. And he also said, the love of many shall wax cold. But let me read 13. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. Now, this is not just talking about men. This is just a masculine way of how the Messiah is speaking, or the translator or the writer, or however you want to look at it. But those who endure, they shall be saved. And that's a whole other topic, but most high willing, we'll touch on that a little bit. But love shall wax cold. So my man Anonymous, when you hear this term, love shall wax cold, what stands out to you?
For me, it's the first part of that stands out first is because of iniquity, right? And we know iniquity is sin, and sin is transgressing and falling short of the law. So when you think about how he said we would know each other, we know each other basically based upon our love, right? They will know you are my disciples by your love, or by the way you love one another. That's John 13. I think it's 13:35. If you can understand that, then you understand now, one, that he wasn't teaching against the law, but we ain't going to get into that. But this love of many shall wax cold. To me, it becomes evident that we are watching, or we are witnessing, and he's telling us that people are going to stop taking care of each other for the most part, right? We're going to see this falling away of actually being a brotherhood. If you think about even when our forefathers came out of Egypt, they came out as a brotherhood, right? They came out and there were certain things that had to get set up because there was a brotherhood. Even when you look at Acts in Acts chapter 6, and Most High willing, we'll get to that as well. They were a brotherhood. There's things that you got to do that are prescribed in Torah that are supposed to happen when you live as a community. And it's all based upon love. Remember, Christ basically said the greatest commandment is to love the Most High, and then the second one is to love your neighbor as you love yourself. So if you loving your neighbor as you love yourself, you're not gonna just let yourself fall by the wayside. But we're seeing this, and so just for me personally, I'm looking at a nation that should be the wisest, brightest nation on the earth, and we're actually in shambles because we're not following the ordinance given to us by the Creator as well as the Messiah about love, right? If you think about something that's cold, it's frozen, it has no heat, it has no real life to it. A dead body is cold. It lies on a cooling board, as our moms and our grandmas used to say. Something that's cold is dead. And right now, I would have to say, being watchmen after looking around this community, the love of many has waxed cold. It's not there. It's non-existent. Go ahead. I'll land back after you add to that.
A lot of powerful things you just brought up. And I'm just going to say the overall believer with the various different titles. We profess to know the Most High. We profess that we're all this and we're all that. Even myself at times, I've fallen short. And I pray that the Most High, I allow myself to hear his voice so I can get back on track myself. The love waxing cold, that is a serious, serious deal. And especially with the Hebrew Israelite. And I try not to go against my people. I really don't. But for some reason, the more and more I see that we're always promoting ourselves to look like this and to be like this and to be like that, the more I see it's more of I see the promotion, it looks good, I hear the talk, it looks good, it sounds good. But for some reason, I'm at a loss for words because when I see one thing, but I see another. So what I want to do, I want to look in the lexicon for the word cold and see if we can most definitely
it's gonna be a good one. Go ahead and look this word up. I'm already on it, but look this up. It's gonna be this is a good one. Yeah.
And I apologize if I'm not as if my words are a little tied up. This is a very powerful topic. It's near and dear to me. As of late, various brothers and sisters have reached out to me and they've been sharing their personal story. And I understood, or I was aware that there were things going on in the community that were not talked about as often. But there's some other things I've heard that I'm in complete shock, that I've heard the treatment amongst Israelite men and women and how we are treating each other. I'm at a loss, especially when we're always talking about we keep the commandments. And the way and the stories I've heard and the things that have been revealed to me, we are far from keeping the commandments. There's no way you can call yourself Torah only or you keep the laws if we're going around offending people and we're multiple men and women who get offended by these camps or these various other people who come in the name of the Most High. People are being abandoned. People are being left alone. There are people walking away from the faith and they're going back to Christendom or they're just leaving completely. And we've touched on this before. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go into the Thayer's Greek lexicon, look up the word cold. And the word is suko. Psycho. And it reads, let's see, to feed by putting a bit or crumb into the mouth. Let's see. That's one way. That's one thing. There's something else I saw. It also says to feed, nourish, of thing, to give a thing to feed someone, feed out to. Oh, I'm sorry, it's the wrong, my fault. That's my apologies. All right, it says breathe, blow, cool, blowing, to be made or grow or cold, cool or cold. The wanting of love.
The waning.
Waning, yeah, waning of love, my fault. Yeah, waning of love. Wow. Waning of love. So you see there's a lack of it. So it just lines up with what the Messiah was saying. Love shall wax cold. There's not going to be any available. It'll be very rare. I mean, you can still find it in this society. You can. But the common trend is it's not there anymore because iniquity shall abound, or iniquity is so high, or the cup of iniquity is so full that it's spilling over. And when the cup runneth over, it'll fall anywhere, into the secular world, even into the religious world. So, anything else, Ak, before we move on?
Yeah, because I want to deal with this word psycho really quick. If you think about this in the English language, excuse me, this is specifically talking about the mind, the mental, the spirit, or like the unconscious or the subconscious. And this Greek is if we follow the etymology of it, it's a Greek word, and it starts to, when it takes you into the English, then you get to the word like psyche or psychopath or just psychosis, the way the mind works, okay? So let's go back to Deuteronomy 28 real quick, and we know that part of the curse is that we would be basically afflicted with madness, right? And all of this stems from, like I said at the beginning of verse 12, and because of iniquity, right? So because of iniquity, because of just lawlessness, just complete and total sinning, our love has waxed cold. And this is going to become very important as we move forward in what we're talking about tonight, because part of what we are commanded to do is love one another. And I don't care if you only focus, you consider yourself, you claim to be Torah-centered, or if you are whole book or whatever divisive word we want to call each other nowadays. Both sides of the book, Tanakh and Baruch Halakhah, is telling us that we are to love one another. We are to love the poor, love the stranger, feed the poor, feed the stranger, judge the orphans or the fatherless, as well as take care of the widow. That's how you show your love. This is a way of showing love. So when you look at this word psycho and then combine that with because of iniquity, and we understand that this iniquity is sin, now we're starting to get a clearer picture of why the love has waxed cold, because we have chosen to live and just be comfortable in iniquity, to be comfortable in sin, and to say, it is what it is, or to actually come off as saying that we're really trying to keep Torah when we're really not. And I'm not poking at nobody, but there are some out here that really claim to keep Torah, but they're not really doing it. They'll readily tell you that they're not really doing it, but then still jump on a high horse and attack people and call them names and do certain things. So this is really what we're going to deal with tonight, is this psychosis or this psycho, wax cold, the waning of love because of iniquity. And go ahead, Ak.
I'm going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 6. We've all read this before. If you're going to call yourself Israel, this is something that we pride ourselves on. It's called the Shema. Deuteronomy chapter 6. So we've read this various times over the years. I'll pick up at verse 4. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one, or he is united. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, and with all thy might. Right there. How do you show that you love the Most High? Well, it's going to be more than just talking. We're going to have to show. We're going to have to prove. Christ said himself that you will be known by your fruits. You will be known by your works. You will be known how you treat other people. This is based on how you move as a person. Notice how the Hebrew language is all about movement. It's all about action. I'm going to say it again. Notice how the Hebrew language is all about movement and action. I'm not promoting that the language is superior or dominant over others, because I understand the Most High not to be bound to just a language. He can speak all languages for those who hate Greek. But the point I want to make is that it's all about how we move. The Spirit manifests through all of our action. And when love shall wax cold, the actions are contrary to how the Most High set it up right here in Deuteronomy chapter 6. I'm going to read it one more time. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one. And thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and with all thy soul and with all thy might. How do you love him with all thy soul? Is there any examples you know of, Anonymous?
Oof. You know what, for me, I guess, you know what, let's go to, I think it's Micah really quick. This one stood out for me. And then I can bring this back to the other side of the book. But I wanted to, let me get it here.
But and for those who are listening, me and Anonymous, we are believers in the Messiah, known to those by the nations as Christ. We stand on the whole book. I'm gonna say it one more time before my brother gets on. We stand on the whole book. We don't promote any type of doctrine. Our goal is to do and to act according to how the Most High called it and how He revealed it. So, but with that being said, I'm gonna fall back. Go ahead, Doc.
So I'm just gonna read Micah 6 and 8 because you was talking about how do we show that we love the Most High. I'm gonna start at 7 just so you kind of get a context. So Micah 6 starting at 7, I'm gonna read 7 and 8. Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, or with 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? Verse 8, He has showed thee, O man, what is good. What is good? Come on, y'all. And what doth the Lord require of thee? But to do justly, and to love mercy, and to walk humbly with thy God. Listen, we talking about what is required of thee. What's required of us to do justly? So what's justly? I ain't even got to look it up, but I'm pretty sure it's talking about sadek in some form of it, right? So to do justly, or it may not even be sadek because that's technically righteousness. So let me make sure. That's mishpat. Yes, okay. So that's mishpat. But they are in the same category, justly, righteousness. When you think about justice, you're thinking about righteousness. And what's righteousness? Following that law. So to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with thy God. It takes humility to actually walk humbly with this. And so we have to get to the point where we understand that this thing that we're talking about, the love of many waxing cold, that means we basically live in iniquity, no justice, but most importantly, no humility. We won't humble ourselves enough to pick up this word and really focus on the things that we're going to start bringing out this evening. Right? At what point are we going to say, okay, you know what, I missed the mark, and it's time for me to get back right? Are we living justly? Do we love mercy? Are we walking humbly with thy God? Because if we are, our nation wouldn't be in shambles. We would be actually taking care of the widow, taking care of the orphan, right? Taking care of the poor and the stranger. But instead, we arguing and fighting with each other. We're so busy arguing about the different sides of this book that we can't look up and see a nation, a world that is crumbling, that groans for the manifestation of the sons of God. Go ahead, Odd.
Man, good word, bro. Good words. Turn to Isaiah chapter 1, people. We've all read this before, too. And what we're going to do, we're going to start off at verse 2. Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. How they rebelled against each other? Let's keep going. Verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. But Israel doeth not know, my people doeth not consider. This Israel, the ones who claim to know, right? Verse 4. A sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity. There go that word. A seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters. They have forsaken the Lord, or Yahweh. They have provoked the Holy One of Israel unto anger. They are gone away backwards. Verse 5 is the kicker, though. Why should ye be stricken any more? He asks you a question. Ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick. The whole heart is faint. You've been oppressed for so damn long, you ain't got no faith. You think you got faith, you ain't got it because you're used to oppression. And when you're so used to oppression for so long, you oppress others around you. And then when you get to the point to where you find out you're an Israelite, you change your name and you still act like a heathen. The one that you call a heathen when you're on the street corners. Let's keep going. Let's skip down a few verses. Let's go to there's something else I wanted to read before we got into the other part of chapter 1. Let's go to let's just get to it. Verse 16. Wash ye. Wash, right? Make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings. The evil of, hold on. Well, so wait a minute. So he's not asking you to shut your mouth. He's not telling you to stop talking. It's cool to run your mouth, but it don't mean nothing. What's that old saying, Anonymous? Actions speak louder than what?
Words, sir.
Yes, sir. I'm going to read it again. Verse 16. Wash ye, make you clean, put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Cease to do evil. 17. Learn to do well. Seek judgment. Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless. Plead for the widow. Uh-oh. How many of us are doing this? Sit back and think about that and marinate for a minute. Especially these brothers or these sisters who have these titles of leadership. And like I said before, leadership is a skill. You either have it or you don't. It is what it is. I ain't finna call out no names. We know who they are. Let's go to Jeremiah 22. Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
James, just let me take it to James 1:27 real quick, because like we said, we deal with full book. You know, I want y'all to realize that the apostles were saying the same thing that our prophets were saying. So I'm going to go to James 1:27. It says, pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and the widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. So I'm starting to see a trend here. I'm starting to see a trend between what we saw in antiquity with our prophets and what we see, I guess, even in antiquity, if we're looking back to the first century, with the apostles. Right? They was telling us the same thing. And this is the other verse I want to bring out real quick before we go further, because it lines up perfectly as we're talking about love. If we go to John 13, verse 35, by this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if you have love for one another. If you have love one to another, So we looking at love. If we are really disciples of this thing, we should be able to show love to one another. And the way that we do that is to visit the fatherless, visit the widows in their affliction, keep ourselves unspotted from the world. And then if we go back to like Isaiah 1, learn to do well, seek judgment, relieve the oppressed. That means relieve the poor. judge the fatherless, and plead for the widow. Let's go to Jeremiah.
Yeah, man. I'm in Jeremiah 22.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, man. Ain't that something? See how the Spirit move, y'all?
That's crazy.
Jeremiah 22. This is one of my favorites. We go pick up at verse 13, right? Woe unto him that buildeth his house by unrighteousness, and his chambers by wrongdoing, that useth his neighbor's service without wages, and giveth him not for his work, that saith, I will build me a wide house and large chambers, and cutteth out windows, and it is sealed with cedar and painted with vermilion. Shalt thou reign because thou closest thyself in cedar? Did not thy father eat and drink and do judgment and justice? And then it was well with him? He judged the cause of the poor and needy. Then it was well with him. Was not this to know me, saith the Most High? Verse 17. But thy eyes and thy heart are not, but for thy covetousness. Ooh, that's a key word right there, too.
Yeah, it is.
And for to shed innocent blood, and for oppression, and for violence to do it. This is what Israel want to do. What does it say in Isaiah chapter 1? The head is sick. The heart is faint. Go ahead, Ark.
Yeah, Ark, I'm listening, and I'm feeling like people trying to figure out where we getting at or whatever. So I'm going to go back and just try to make this plain as possible real quick. As we're looking around this nation right now, we see a bunch of women, widows, and orphans, the fatherless, that are left without guidance, that our leaders have seemed to not stepped up and snatched up because, I rock with this camp, I rock with that camp, or I want to attack the New Testament, or I want to attack the Old Testament, whatever the situation may be. Don't y'all realize that it is our job right now to pull up our brothers and sisters, all these single sisters that's coming into this movement, all of these fatherless brothers out here that's looking for some type of help and leadership. And I'm not saying all our leaders, because I do see some of our brothers every day out here in the field, going neighborhood to neighborhood, actually teaching these brothers. I see some of our mothers out here pulling up these young women, trying to show them how to properly live this thing. But by and large, as a whole, if Exodus 19:6 tells us that we are supposed to be a kingdom of priests, a royal priesthood, then it's all of our jobs at this point to go out here and start pulling up our brothers and our sisters, our lost sheep, and start caring for them, caring for the widows, caring for the fatherless, and caring for the poor and for the strangers. Right? That's what we're talking about. That's what we see. Because if we was doing that, we wouldn't have as many killings in Chicago. If we was doing that, we wouldn't have as many aborted babies. If we were doing this, we wouldn't have as many people going crazy due to madness because this world is just tearing them and taking them apart. We wouldn't have as many divorces. Right? So when we're talking about love, we're talking about real action, getting out here and trying to do it. Where we going?
And I'll say this, and I'll say this just to land back. And when we say love, we're not talking about your religious dogma. I'm going to say it again. When I say love, or when we say love, we're not talking about promoting your religious dogma. What we mean is show people that you care for them. You're not going to show a person you care for them if you're politicking, if they're wearing pants. You're not going to show no one love if you're politicking over the fact that their head's not covered. You're not showing love to a person when you sit here and you say, or you tell them, they're coming to you and they're in need, and the first thing you ask them is, well, how are things with you personally at home with your husband? things of that nature. These are things that we are hearing nowadays, and this seems to be very common. You're not showing love when you tell a bunch of young brothers who are coming into this truth, when you tell them that they're better and superior than other people. That's not love. You're setting them up to fail. You're setting them up to act like the slave master that you're always running your mouth about. It's just that simple. So Sal, do we got any callers to press 1 so far?
We have a special guest here that you invited. Want me to bring her in now?
Yeah, let's bring her in.
All right. 813. Introduce yourself to the world.
This is Gabriella. What up? Shalom.
Shalom, sis.
Shalom, sis. What's good? How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm enjoying y'all's show, man. Y'all bringing out some really important points.
Good to hear. So, what you heard so far, sis, what are your thoughts and what's your opinion and what are things that you have seen so far since you've come into this understanding that you are a children or you are a child of Jacob?
Well, just coming in as a single mother, I've seen a lot of disrespect towards the women with kids, that are without a husband. And, back in the day, if our husband left us with these children, we would be considered a widow. And we're not being treated like that. We're being treated like just animals, like we need to be married. Our men are trying to take advantage of us, and they're not really offering that help, like, for our children, to guide them, or they're not offering the help for the women like me who don't have a place to go. There's no help there. And what you guys were pointing out in those scriptures was important because even before Matthew 24, it talks about in Matthew 23, it says, verse 14, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees and hypocrites, for you devour widows' houses. And coming into this truth, that's what I've seen. I've been led astray many times. I've been, abused by some of these men and instead of being helped, And then you go to Matthew, I think it's 19:20, where the rich man says, well, I do all your commandments. I do everything. What can I do to get into heaven? And, our Mashiach said, give all your stuff away to the poor. And that person couldn't do it. So that's what I see out here is that, when I ask for help or I'm looking for help from my people, it's not there. Instead, there's just a lot of talking, and there's a lot of Matthew chapter 23, a lot of people wanting to be put on these pedestals, and they don't really want to help nobody.
Thank you, sis. We appreciate your words. Hold tight for a minute. Yo, Anonymous, anything you want to say?
Yeah, this is like my hot button, just so to speak. Like, if we talking about really building a nation, whatever that looks like for us, some of us believe we should be, some of us believe we shouldn't be, but we believe that we should be out here teaching the law, statutes, and commandments, however you want to word it. I would say the key part of that is building up the women and the children, because that's the nation. I mean, as men, we sharpen each other every day. I'm on the phone every day with a different brother, sharpening and growing and trying to get deeper into this word. But what about like the sister just said, the single mother with children who have chosen to come into this way of life, and there's nothing set up for them. There is nothing at all set up for them except for come to a camp or, come listen every Shabbat to the Shabbat class, and then she's right back at her struggle every week. And then if she doesn't do whatever it is prescribed of her to do, then it's like, oh, well, she's less than, There's names that she's been called, all of this extra. You know, I'm going to read this part real quick. I'm just going to go to Ruth real quick. Ruth 1, I'm going to read Ruth 1, 14 and 15. And this is when Ruth and Orpah have to make a decision, basically, whether or not they're going to stay with Naomi. And I'll just start at 14. And they lifted up their voice and wept again. And Orpah kissed her mother-in-law, but Ruth clave unto her. And she said, Behold, thy sister-in-law is going back into her people and into her gods. Return thou after thy sister-in-law. But what did Ruth say? And Ruth said, Entreat me not to leave thee, or to return from following after thee. For whither thou goest, I will go, and where thou lodgest, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God. Where thou diest, will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also, if thou art but death part thee and me. So this is Ruth, who is a Moabite. She's cleaving to this thing. She chooses to cleave to this thing. And if you read later in the chapter, she's able to go and glean from the extra portions that are left over at the end of the day. So even our ancestors understood that the poor, the widows, the strangers, that they need something to eat every day as well. Right? And if all of us could understand this concept, we wouldn't have any more single women, single mothers that are left out in the cold. Where we gotta have these conversations, these real serious, hard conversations about why are we not doing this? Why are we not taking care of our widows? Why are we not taking care of our single mothers, the poor, the strangers, the fatherless? And I want to say this too. If you think about the fatherless, it's not just because someone's father has died. But do you understand what it's like? Everybody should realize when you come into this way of life now, when you walk out of Christendom, most of us, our families disown us. So now imagine a single mother that's come out of this, or even a single father that's come out of wherever they came from, and they walk into this way of life, and now they all by themselves. And then you wonder why people walk back to going to Sunday church. And then we call them weak. Oh, you going back to Sunday church.
Right.
We didn't have anything set up for them. We don't have nothing to give them. But we are specifically commanded to have things in place. We are specifically commanded to do these things. And I know what y'all thinking, oh, they haven't read nothing for the law, so let's go ahead to Leviticus 19. Leviticus 19:9, and when ye reap the harvest of your land, thou shalt not wholly reap the corners of thy field, neither shalt thou gather the gleanings of thy harvest, and thou shalt not glean thy vineyard, neither shalt thou gather every grape of the vineyard. Thou shalt leave them for the poor and the stranger. I am Yah, your Elohim. It's right there, and I can go all throughout the Torah. I can go all throughout the first 5 books and find this. This is our job, y'all. This is what we should be getting at. And it's not just 2 people that's going to be able to do it. Me and B.A. going to do our part, trust me. But it's going to take an entire village. And we're going to get deeper into how that looks and what that looks like in a second as well. Most High willing. But it's important for us to get this key foundation. I'll fall back. Go ahead, B.A.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Sister Gabrielle, is there anything else you would like to share?
No, I just appreciate y'all even listening because I've been through a lot in this truth. I've seen different people and lots of different elders and stuff, and like you said, there's no help for women and their children. You know, the best thing they can offer is putting you together with some strange man that you don't really know. You know, and that's, I don't think, is the way to help our kids and our women.
Wow. Let me see. It was something in Exodus I was looking at. And hold on for a second. I know where it is. Hold on. Yes, I'm going to read Exodus 22. We all read this before, too. Exodus 22. And we're going to pick it up at verse 21. Yeah, we're reading from the law for those who think we hate the law. We don't hate the law. We recognize Christ, and we understand that he is the living Torah. And yes, I said it. For those who may be offended, yeah, it is what it is. I'm not trying to promote or try to make it an issue, but I'm letting you know where I stand. Verse 21. Thou shalt neither vex a stranger nor oppress him, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Ye should not afflict any widow or fatherless child. If thou afflict them in any wise, and if they cry at all unto me, I will surely hear their cry. And my wrath shall wax hot, and I will kill you with the sword, and your wives shall be widows, and your children fatherless. It's going to come right back on you. This is the part of the Torah that the so-called internet Hebrew don't want to deal with. No, not the internet Hebrew. No, he don't want to do that. He wants to bust up with all his buddies and talk about how self-righteous they are. That's what they want to do. No loyalty, none of that. When Sal had reached out to me, and I've said this before, when Sal reached out to me and wanted me to be the host of this segment, my goal was to get together with all the brothers that come on here and talk about topics like this. And for the longest, do you know that I would not even get a response? And a lot of these individuals got names in the community. They would ignore me because it wasn't interesting, or it wasn't hot enough, or it wasn't appealing enough, or it wasn't sexy enough to talk about these type of conditions or these type of issues that are going on that we tend to notice that are happening. It's a constant trend in Israel. This is a conversation that Israel don't want to have. They don't want to talk about it. It's too serious. It's too deep because it cuts, because we're dropping the ball when we sit here and we hear these stories about people being offended and leaving the camps, and we don't say nothing about it. But it's okay for our enemies to get together, even though we know there's an agenda behind what they're doing. But at least what they're doing is forming up and reaching out to those who are being offended. Yeah, they're going back to Christendom, but guess what? They're going back to people with open arms. But what are we doing? No. We want to talk all day. We want to finesse the scriptures all day. We want to change our Hebrew name and make it seem like we're so righteous. That's what we want to do. We don't want to have nothing to offer. We just want to gang bang religion. What's up with the brand new clique, yada yada? You know what I mean. We hear it all the time. I see that in Israel. That is what I see. And I'm going to say it again. I'm so disappointed. Very disappointed. But Sal, we got any other callers that press the one?
All right, family. This is the last segment for the Man Up for the season right here. We're gonna come back September 17th. You know the number by now. Let your voice be heard. That number is 319-527-6239. I see we have a lot of callers on the phone line right now. We have some Skype callers out there. Let's press number 1 if you want to chime in. Again, the number is 319-527-6239. Nobody's pressing number 1 at this time. I'll keep you posted.
All right, Doc. Thank you. Appreciate it. Anonymous, man. You want to, let's go, let's see. Let's go to Ezekiel 14.
Okay. I'm with it.
Man. And I love Israel. I really do. But I will be honest, I do not like how we get down. A lot of the brothers in the community don't like me. I've been called a feminist. I've been called all types of names because I surround myself around the sisters and I try to reach out to them and let them know I'm a brother and I'm here. If you just want to talk some scriptures or just someone to vent to, because ain't nobody else doing it. It don't make me no simp either, because that's what some brothers would call you. But this is what happens when you have an overabundance of Negroes running their mouth and you have an overabundance of sisters who are by themselves, and for some reason they're not going to these Negroes. I wonder why. To me, and I said it before, it's just, I don't know, man. To me, it's really a homosocial type of behavior, like one of the sisters on here was saying before. To me, I'm going to call it a homosexual spirit for men who have hate for women. And no, I'm not just going to bash the brothers. I know the sisters do it too. But for some reason, it tends to, I continuously see that it's a constant trend amongst the brothers, man. Like, we are not getting it. We're not getting it. And you wonder why black men in America are so behind. We're always on top of the statistics when it comes to the dysfortunes or the unfortunate type of statistics, like going to jail, first to get fired, last to get hired, things of that nature. You don't even take care of yourself. You don't love yourself. If you don't love yourself, how are you going to expect someone to love you? But we've been oppressed for so long, and we don't want to admit as men that we have issues. We don't want to admit it. We think talking tough with it on YouTube is going to do it. As long as I got a YouTube account, I'm righteous. That's the attitude I see in this community. Was that Ezekiel 14? What was that, Art? In verse, what was that, verse 14? Do you want to pick it up here?
Yeah, Ezekiel 14 and 14. I was just listening to you, Watch. I'm like, BA on it tonight. I'm going to pick up at 14, Ezekiel 14 and 14. Yeah, let's see. Now, this is important because, well, I'll read it and then we'll get into it. Though these three men, Noah, Daniel, and Job, were in it, they should deliver but their own souls by their righteousness, saith the Lord God. If I cause noisome beasts to pass through the land, and they spoil it, so that it be desolate, that no man may pass through because of the beast, though these three men were in it, as I live, saith Yah Elohim, they shall deliver neither sons nor daughters. They only shall be delivered, but the land shall be desolate. I'm going to stop right there for a second. So, the point that I'm going to make when I wanted to go here tonight is I wanted to make it clear that we just not saying, oh, we're supposed to just go out and help people and no matter what they're doing, it's okay. We specifically talking, that's why I read Ruth earlier as well, because we specifically talking about people that have decided to make a change in their life and that want to cleave to this way of life. They are actually taking something like Ezekiel 14 and 14 to heart. They trying to deliver their souls. They trying to do the best they can to get this walk right. Those are the ones that we know that we are supposed to be reaching out to. So I don't want to hear nobody calling in talking about, well, we don't know what these sisters doing in their private life and such, yada, yada. Yes, we do, because we know that these sisters is trying to cleave. We know that these young men are trying to cleave. That's the only reason we know about it, because we're linking up with brothers and sisters that are actually in this way of life, that are actually doing this, trying to deliver their souls. They trying to actually get right, and all they doing is getting the door slammed in their face. And we all should know what that's like, because we come from that in the other way of life. We come from that in the Christian world. Or if you were atheist or a Muslim or whatever it was that you was doing before you decided to cleave to the Torah. Right? We talking about righteous brothers and sisters that are trying to get it right, and they need help. They really need help. But all we got to offer is, like Brother B.A. said, the gang banging on the internet. It's time for us to get this right, Israel. It's time for us to go ahead and say, okay, we're going to man up and we're going to do this. Because if we don't, we're leaving a whole section of Israel out to the wolves. You know, I talked to a couple people about this in private before we went into this, and some people was real receptive. You know, they was like, okay, yeah, this is what we got to do, so we ready. You know, we're going to set up different type of counseling things. I talked to some financial advisors. They're like, okay, It's going to take me a week or two, but I'll sit down and I'll show you everything you need to do in terms of trying to set up some type of trust fund for these women. I'm not saying everything is going to happen overnight. That's not what I'm saying. But there are some things that we can do that can alleviate this. But I'm going to be honest with y'all, and this is the point that I'm at right now. If I'm not going to get any man that's going to step up and help me and BA, and if y'all consider yourselves to be these type of brothers that, we need to keep these women in their place or whatever, the worst thing you can do is keep your mouth quiet. Because you know what I'm going to do then? I'm going to find every sister I can that wants to be involved with this, and I'm going to show them how to do it themselves. So let that sink in. I'm begging y'all, please start contacting us. Email us. Hit up BA. Hit up myself. Hit up Sal. And help us right this wrong. Because if not, we just going to have to reach out and we're going to go to these women. And you know what's going to happen? These women are going to start crying out to the Most High. And everybody that is running around and pressing them, yeah, that's right. Your wife going to mess around and be a widow. Your wife going to mess around and be fatherless. I'm not even trying to make a curse on nobody. I'm telling you what the words say. We hear sisters right now crying out. I've heard them calling into Under the Palm. I've heard them on the Relationship Challenge. Now they hear on the Man Up, reaching out, saying we need help. So now I'm saying to the men that are listening, help us man up and help us solve this, because this is the key thing right now in our nation that is making us a reproach to all of these other people that are watching. Look how these Israelites treat their women. That's got to stop, y'all. Go ahead,
I want to read Deuteronomy 15. Deuteronomy chapter 15. We're going to stay in the law for those who have a phobia of the Greek side of the book, right? I'm going to pick it up at verse, let's see where I want. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit. Let's go to verse 7. If there be among you a poor man of one of thy brethren within thy gates in thy land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee, thou shalt not harden thy heart, nor shut thy hand from thy poor brother. But thou shalt open thy hand wide unto him, and shalt surely lend him sufficient for his need and that which he wanteth. Right? Beware that there be not a thought in thy wicked heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is at hand, and thy eye be evil against thy poor brother, and thou givest him not, and he cried unto the Lord against thee, and it be sin unto thee. He said, it's going to be sin unto you if you try to be sneaky, you try to be crafty, you try to pull a fast one, you try to be slick. Right? Verse 10. Thou shalt surely give him, and thine heart shall not be grieved when thou givest unto him, because that for this thing the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thy works, and in all that thou puttest in thy hand unto. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. That line up. Hold on. It sounded like Christ was getting that, was getting his when he said the poor you will always have among you. I got a pretty good idea where Christ got it from. Right here. And we keep having these debates, and we keep having these individuals come against the New Testament. Ain't that something? I'm going to keep reading. I'm going to start back at verse 11 again. For the poor shall never cease out of the land. Therefore I command thee, saying, thou shalt open thy hand wide unto thy brother. You supposed to be, hold on. And Moses is talking to Israel. He's talking to Israel right here. Now, are we in the land of captivity? Yeah, we're in our land of captivity. But do we have any? But it's also written in the law. I will make, and I'm paraphrasing, I will make you a sanctuary in the land of your enemies. And we got a few sanctuaries out here. And we do have brothers out here and sisters who are out here giving and helping. But guess what? We also have brothers and sisters who are a sanctuary that's not doing anything. As a whole, we are continuously lacking. Let's see. Thou shalt open thy hand wide unto thy brother, to thy poor, and to the needy in the land. Verse 12. And if thy brother, a Hebrew man or a Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, and the 7th year thou shalt let him go free and from thee. And when thou sendest him out free from thee, thou shalt not let him go away empty. Thou shalt furnish him liberally. Furnish him liberally. Wow. This is the commandments. Out of thy flock, and out of thy floor, and out of thy winepress, of that wherewith the Lord thy God hath blessed thee, thou shalt give unto him. And thou shalt remember that thou was a bondman in the land of Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee. He redeemed you. Therefore I command thee this thing to do, or this thing today. Let's keep going. I think it's something else. And it shall be, if he say unto thee, I will not go away. No, it's something else. I'm going to skip down some, because there's something here that Moses has said that stood out when I was reading it once before. Go ahead, Doc. I'm going to fall back and look for that while you go ahead and carry on for a second.
I just wanted to talk. We still got the sister on, Sal?
Yeah, Gabriella's still here. Yep.
All right, sis. How you doing? I want to know, really quick, are there any older sisters? Are there any older sisters that are available for you to reach out to talk to?
I haven't met any. A lot of sisters don't reach out to sisters like that. And when they do, it's like, oh, God bless you. It's not like, hey, it's not like helpful. You know what I'm saying? It's more just like, oh, hope it works out. I don't really know any.
Okay. Well, thank you, sis. So that's going to take me to my next point. Did you want to bring out anything else, BA, before I go to the next point that I wanted to touch, or did you want to go back and finish up? Did you find what you were looking for?
No, you go right ahead, brother. Go right ahead.
Okay. So the next point that I wanted to bring out, and that's why I asked the sister to see, has she spoken in, any of the leadership. So, and I'm going to read just a quick little passage of scripture, just so I can show that we see this in the Tanakh as well as in the New Testament. So first I'm going to go to Exodus 18, and I'm going to read, verses 14 through 21. And this is when we're talking about the first judges that we have, and this is when Jethro is talking to Moses. And when Moses' father-in-law saw all that he did to the people, he said, what is this thing that thou doest to the people? Why sittest thou thyself alone, and all the people stand by thee from morning to evening? Moses said unto his father-in-law, because the people come unto me to inquire of God. When they have a matter, they come unto me, and I judge between one and another. And I do make them know the statutes of God and his laws. And Moses' father-in-law said unto him, this thing that thou doest is not good. Thou wilt surely wear away, both thou and this people that is with thee. For this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone. Hearken now unto my voice. I will give thee counsel, and God shall be with thee. Be thou for the people to Godward, that thou mayest bring the causes unto God. And thou shalt teach them ordinances and laws, and shalt show them the way wherein they must walk, and the work that they must do. This is 21. Moreover, thou shalt provide out of all the people able men, such as fear God, men of truth, hating covetousness, and place such over them to be the rulers of thousands, and rulers of hundreds, and rulers of 50s, and rulers of tens. Now we're going to go to Acts. Acts chapter 6. Because this is the point that it's time to deal with this. It's time to address this, and there's nothing else we can do about this. And this is something that we will sit on during the entire off season and think about. So I'm going to read Acts 6, and I'm going to read 1 through, I might stop at 4, I might go through to 7. So Acts, and in those days, when the number of disciples was multiplied, there arose a murmuring of the Grecians against the Hebrews because their widows were neglected in the daily ministration. Then the 12 called the multitude of the disciples unto them and said, is it not reason that we should leave the word of God and serve tables? Wherefore, brethren, look ye out among ye 7 men of honest report, full of the Holy Ghost and wisdom, whom we may appoint over this business. But we will give ourselves continually to prayer and to the ministry of the word. And the saying pleased the whole multitude, and they chose Stephen, a man full of faith and of the Holy Ghost, and Procurius, and Nicanor, and Timon, and Parmenas, and Nicholas, a proselyte and of Antioch. And then this is 6, whom they set before the apostles. And when they had prayed, they laid their hands on them. And then 7, and the word of God increased, and the number of the disciples multiplied in Jerusalem greatly, and the company of the priests were obedient to the faith. It's time for us to really get righteous leaders. That's my whole point. I'm reaching out, and I've already started reaching out to different brothers in the background. It's time for the righteous leaders to step up. This is our men and our women. We need our men and our women to start stepping up and saying, okay, this is the work. This is the work that we have to do. We hear all of this about, let's get together and get our money right. Let's build this, let's build that. If we can't do the simple thing as to come together, select proper leaders that will go forth and do the daily ministration of our poor, our strangers, and our widows, and our fatherless, we don't have a nation, y'all. This is what the nation is. This is the point now. We're here, and we're starting to hear the cry of the fatherless. We're hearing the cry of the widows. We're hearing the cries of the poor and the stranger. Now it's time to address that. I hope that you are listening out here. It's time to start Facebook groups that will be strictly dedicated to helping these women that have come and want to cleave onto Israel. It's time to start YouTube pages. If you want to be on YouTube and you want to do all this stuff, this is the work. This is the work. It's time for us to do this because you see clearly what happened. You saw what happened in verse 7. And the word of God increased, and the number of the disciples multiplied in Jerusalem greatly, and a great company of the priests were obedient to the faith because they started to get organized and took care of all of the widows and the fatherless. Right? This is the work. This is where we at right now. We have to properly choose leaders that will come in and get this done. And then next thing you'll see what God does. He will add the increase. Go ahead, House.
Man, I agree with everything you just brought out. And it's time to really separate ourselves from the madness. If we're going to be on social media, at least use the tools on social media for the right things. Use it to reach out to those who are being afflicted, who are being left alone. Like the brother was saying, it's more than just a Facebook thing. But get a Facebook group to where it's a platform to where people can go to who's having trouble, those who are stumbling, those who are having issues at home or who are being abused mentally by these individuals in these camps if these things are going on. Something to where they can call a phone number and tell somebody, hey, I'm really struggling over here. Something's happened. I see something. We got to bring it to the attention of the community so we can bring it out and we can discuss it and we can come together and find a solution. We're not even doing that as a whole. But the Christians do it. They do it. And you see what they're doing. And they point the finger at us. Now you see why they come against you. Because you have nothing to save your own. Your enemies are doing better than you. Our enemies are doing better than us. Some things I've heard over the past couple of days are, I'm in shock. I really am. Another reason why I decided that I wanted to make the Man Up Show a powerful platform is because I heard the sisters on the Under the Palm. I sat back one day and I heard one of the first episodes, and I was blown away at how the sisters were able to have some order amongst themselves and have their differences but still get along and bring out a concept or a topic they were teaching and make it effective. And I was like, that's how I would love the Man Up segment to be. Just like that. And it's funny how the Most High used the sisters to show me that if you're going to present yourself publicly, you should do it just like that. And it took the sisters for me to realize it. But you know what brothers will say to me? You always promoting women. Wow. You missed the whole point. If the so-called leaders of the nation, which the men always claim they are, if you can't even keep your own standards, who else are we supposed to go to? Who else? It's written in Genesis, it said for male and female to have dominion all over the earth. That's what it says in Genesis chapter 1. Let them have dominion. They are supposed to both rule together as one body, not one over the other. So if the brothers are slacking, I'm going to see what the sisters is doing. I'm going to keep it real with you. And you can call me any kind of name. You can call me whatever. People have decided to unfriend me. People have picked up and left and stopped being cool with me based on the fact that I decided that I have no issue with hearing a woman speak. There are actual individuals who no longer even deal with me for that reason. This is true. There are brothers who decided to stop associating with me because I said I would never cover my daughter's head. This is the madness that's going on in Israel. And then we want people to take us serious. Come on, man. Got anything else to say, sis?
No, but I would like to meet sisters, that help each other. You know what I'm saying? I haven't seen that either. You know what I'm saying? Even though we have positions of power sometimes where some of us are stay-home mothers, we got that time to reach out, but I just don't see it being done on any level, in our community. The church has got it. Like he said, everybody's got help for people except us.
Anonymous?
My bad. You know me. As soon as I hear it, then I'm going to work. I was getting ready to send out a message, so I'll work on that in the background. I want to encourage the sister. I want to thank her for having the courage to just share a little bit of what. And trust me, y'all, this is just a little bit of what this sister has really been through. And I want to thank her for her courage and for her commitment to stay, still trying to stay in Torah and still wanting to stay with the community, because there are many that are walking away because of the things that she has experienced. And just in case there's some people out there saying, well, what are y'all doing or what are y'all? So I'll just give you one example right now. And I was talking to Brother B.A. about this today. I know a veteran, I ain't going to put him out there, who has the ability to basically use some things that he has been afforded to basically help get community started. But these people are hesitant to do anything because of the ignorance and the disunity and the discord that is in our community. Because we don't even care enough about ourselves to help ourselves, to help those that we see down. So other people are looking like, I can't get involved with that. I can't give my resources and lend to that because look at what they're doing. Look at how they're acting. So this is now becoming very paramount, becoming critical, that we can get past all of this ignorance, and I mean as fast as possible, to get to the point where we can help young women and young men that are growing up and coming into this. Like, I don't think you guys realize, and I said this before maybe on one of these shows, people are popping up like shoots right now. Like, the spirit is so busy. People are hearing words and they're popping up out of everywhere. and there's nothing set up for them to come and cleave to. Now, in terms of me being in the battlefield on this, I don't have, nothing compared to some other people. But I'm asking y'all to please come work with me. Labor with me. I'm not asking you to do something that I'm not going to do. I'm asking you to labor with me. And let's go ahead and right the ship. We could do it. We have everything we need. I know you don't think so as a nation, Israel, but we have everything we need. We just have to go ahead and put it together and utilize it. And I think you will be surprised at what the Most High will do if we go ahead and just put our efforts to what He has told us to do to His word. Go ahead, B.A.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Yo, Sal, we have anybody to press 1?
All right, fam, let's go back to the phone lines. Again, that number is 319-527-6239. For those just joined in, today's show is entitled Love Shall Wax Cold. Love Shall Wax Cold. The number is 319-527-6239. All right, we're just standing by. Whenever they're ready, I'll let you know.
All right. Well, man, Anonymous, let's see.
I figured we weren't going to have a bunch of calls come in on this one. So
yeah.
I want to take the time real quick because I know that there are some sisters right there listening, or maybe got some things on their mind, or even there are some brothers that are either feel some type of way or don't know what to say to help these sisters out or something. So I kind of just wanted to run through something real quick, just to talk to specifically like women that are divorced or single mothers or women that don't have any help at all. And the first thing is how to empower yourself, how to clear your conscience, and basically understand it's time to start all over. Because you got to understand, if nobody else is going to come and help you, the Most High is right there, and He's all you need, right? So I'm not going to go read all of these scriptures, but I just want to give you some reference scriptures that you can go through so you can see that Yah has made a way. He has made provisions for you. So I'll start with 2 Corinthians 5:17, which basically tells you that in Christ you are a new creation, right? And we understand if you are a new creation, that all things are new. So then from there, if you're worried about something that you have done in the past or whatever, remember in Leviticus 4:2, it gives a remedy of the priest to make atonement for unintentional sin. And when I say unintentional, that doesn't mean that you didn't know you were sinning, but you didn't know exactly what it was because you had not yet come into this walk. So if you're a single mom, you got 3, 4, 5 kids, whatever the situation may be, and now you find yourself in this situation and you don't know, trust me. That's why we know that Hebrews 5:5-10 tells us that Christ is our high priest after the order of Melchizedek. He is up there right now ready to atone or offer a sacrifice or do the right things that He's supposed to do for that unintentional sin. Because remember, Exodus 19:6 as well as 1 Peter 2:9 tells you that you are a chosen people. You are a royal priesthood. You are now a new creature. And then if someone try to tell you that, you're a woman, you got to find a man to cleave to, not if he ain't righteous. You don't just got to settle for some old knucklehead that just want to run you around and do you any old kind of way. That's why you got to take the time to get into this Torah and really know what it is that you are afforded as well. In Numbers 27, you find out that if you don't have anyone, meaning like if you don't have any family or anything, and you've been basically abandoned in this, you kind of are looked at as a widow or as someone that is divorced, right? So Numbers 27 and Numbers 36, as well as Numbers 30, these are all things that the Torah prescribes for women, that you can make vows, you can actually step up and step into your own inheritance, right? You don't have to sit back and wait for some man to come to your rescue if no man is going to do anything, right? Our nation is still trying to get itself together as men. So that means, sisters, you guys can click up together. Y'all can sit back and create the right groups that y'all need and link together your finances and buy houses and create shelters and brothers like me and BA, and there's some other righteous brothers that we can link y'all up with, and we will stand with y'all, and we will work with y'all, and we will help with y'all, because I knew it wasn't going to be a whole bunch of callers that called in for this one tonight. But I want y'all to know that there are some righteous brothers that we have spoken with, and I'm not saying that, it's hundreds of us out there, and we'll keep building, but there are things that y'all can do. The first thing is get your mind right and realize that you are part of this royal priesthood. You are chosen. You've been chosen for a time just like this one, to wake up and cry out to Yah and say, I need you. And trust me, he'll come and he'll heal you and he'll put you in the right position. But you also have to know that there's some things that you have to do, and not only have to do, but that you can do. Like, you can link up with some other sisters, and y'all can go ahead and put things together. Just how me and BA working behind the scenes to do some business deals together and actually do some right things. There's nothing stopping y'all from doing that, right? There's no man over you right now to cancel out your vow. Nobody can tell you not to do it, but what you do have to do is be righteous before Yah. If you be righteous before Yah and keep this Torah, he will set you straight. And just keep reaching out to brothers like BA, brothers like myself, brothers like Brother Sal, and we will do all that we can to help y'all, keep encouraging y'all. We're even going to try to link y'all up with some of the mothers that we know so they can start getting you involved with some of these prayer calls. But you got to make sure that y'all start doing what we was talking about, like in Ezekiel 14, Isaiah 1 and 16, getting rid of anything that's going to hinder y'all from being close to Yah, and then just keep doing it. Stay on the path and don't get discouraged. So I want to encourage you, sis, don't give up, don't get discouraged. Keep going. People are listening. This is something new in our nation right now. This is something new in our kingdom to think about where charity really starts at. So go ahead, Brother B.A. That's all I got right now.
Man, I just want to stress to everybody that we got to do better and we got to start looking out for each other. When you call yourself by the name of Israel, we're going to have to start showing that we are, not just because we have a certain skin tone. No. We're going to have to start doing it with our actions and showing that the Most High is with us. That is the only way that we're going to show and prove. That's how our light is going to be. That's how we're going to be shine as a light. Turn to Matthew chapter 18 real quick. This is the way that we should not be acting. Let me get to it. Matthew chapter 18. Pick up at verse 1. At the same time came the disciples unto the Messiah, saying, who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? I had to stop right there. You see, that's what I see. Now, we're not saying this verbatim or who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven, but that's the mindset that we have. These brothers and these brothers versus these brothers, this group versus that group. Who's the greatest? Who know the most scriptures? Who's the most intellect? Who's the most intellectual? Who has the best information? No. That's not what the Most High has revealed. That is not what he tells us to do. Verse 2. And the Messiah called a little child unto him, and set him in the midst of them, and said, verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye be converted, changed, and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as this little child, the same is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And who shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. Man, that's powerful. And we're going to have to be converted, and we're going to have to change our ways. We can no longer go with this mentality or this type of way or this method of competing and fighting and swinging the sword. That's what Israelites are known for. We're known to take the scriptures and use it as a sword to cut people and condemn them and tear heads off. No. We are supposed to be known by the love we have for the Most High. And how is that? By reaching out to those who are being oppressed, by being a light to those, being a relief to those who are in need.
Mm-hmm.
That is what an Israelite is all about. Go to Matthew chapter 5, man. How you supposed to be acting. Matthew chapter 5, what is commonly called the Beatitudes. And he reads, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." And we know meekness is far from being weak. We can read various examples. Moses was meek. The prophet Elijah was meek. And these men took matters into their own hands and destroyed the wicked. There's various examples of meekness and how we're supposed to act and how we're supposed to allow the Most High to oppose His will upon us. You're supposed to be occupied with His business. Didn't Christ say Himself, "I'm here to do my Father's will. I'm here to do my Father's work. The words I speak are not my own, they are His words." Didn't Moses do the same thing? Didn't Moses speak the words of the Most High?
Mm-hmm.
Keep going. Verse 6. "Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled." These people who are being turned away, who are being offended, they want righteousness. They want to go and be around brothers and sisters who are portraying that they're on point, that they're keeping it 100. Just keep going. Verse 7. "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of Elohim. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you." He said, blessed. Come on. "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you, falsely for my sake." Verse 12. "Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven. For so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. Ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted? It is this forth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under the foot of men." If Israel is supposed to be the salt of the world, or the flavor or the savor of the world, if we're all this and all that, why are we getting these negative results? Think about that. Verse 14. "Ye are the light of the world. A city that is set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a candle and put it under a bushel, but on a candlestick, and give it light unto all that are in the house. Let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works, and glorify your Father is in heaven." He didn't say sit up and talk all day. He said let your light shine before men, before humanity, before various people, that they may see your good works. That's how we know the Spirit of the Most High is upon you, through the way you act. Torah, like we say it again, we're going to keep saying it. Torah is an action. It is not a sword to be used to promote religious dogma. Are we human beings, or are we religious zombies? And I tend to notice, or I keep seeing religious zombies wearing fringes and garments because some of these individuals are acting very inhumane. We are supposed to be the light. We are supposed to bring people and provoke them to righteousness and to have them walk the narrow path. That what did Christ say? He said the narrow path leads to I'm paraphrasing, lead to salvation, but it's the broad path that will lead you to destruction. What does he mean when he said that? We are supposed to be walking that fine line, and we're supposed to be set apart. We ain't supposed to be walking the broad gates. The broad gates is the way of the world. Guess what we have in Israel today? We have those who call themselves set apart and holier than thou, acting like the nations, acting like the world. Look at the foul language we hear with some of these so-called preachers who call themselves by the name of Israel. Cursing up a storm, no different than the individuals who choose to live in the secular world or those who choose to live in the streets. I can't tell the difference. Do you guys know in the background that me and Anonymous Hebrew have caught hell trying to unite brothers? You know the hell that we catch? The names we've been called? The things that have been said to us behind the scenes? You go ahead, bro, if you want to say something. I'm going to fall back.
Nah, I think, I 100% co-sign everything you said. But, I just heard it when you read in verse 11, "Blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake." I've learned real quick when I first, when Brother B.A. first brought me on, and that first week I got hit up and attacked. And I was like, man, I'm not going for this. And now, I'm reaching out to everybody. I'm still reaching out to people. But I'm reaching out to brothers like, why you coming at me like that? And then it would turn into all of this extra. Say what you want to say, man. I know why I'm doing this now. I know the God I serve. That's right, John 4:22. We know what we worship. Now, so at the end of the day, I know what it is our prescription is. I know what we have to do, and that's what we're talking about tonight. Now, I want this this next thing I'm about to do, I want this to be something that becomes something that's rarely done on the Man Up segment, but when it's done, I want it to be real serious. I'm issuing a Man Up challenge right now. If you listen to this and you listen to the show and you think that this show is edifying, I'm asking all of y'all to reach out to us or create something amongst your own congregation to actually help the fatherless, yes, the male and the female fatherless, the poor, the stranger, and the widow. Even if it's just giving food, or if it's giving some type of prayer, setting up a prayer call, or if it's donating clothes, whatever it is, it's time for us to get this right. Y'all know that these women are staying in shelters with their children. They stand in shelters with their children with the Gentiles. Let that sink in. But we the wiser nation. This is literally a man-up challenge that I'm issuing to all the brothers that are listening. You don't got to call in tonight. You don't want to. But I'm issuing a challenge to say, man, reach out to BA, reach out to me, reach out to Sal. Let us know. If you have any ideas, because we got some things that we're working on, but we are not above getting help and getting ideas. And if there's anything that you want to do or help or donate, we would love to have the assistance. Y'all know I ain't never sat here and asked nobody for nothing. But I'm asking y'all to help these women and help these brothers that are coming into this that need the assistance. And then also, really quick, I wanted to just touch on a question that Brother Rafa, I hope I'm saying his name right, that he brought out. Make sure I word it correctly. Because there is this thing going around, I guess. I don't always be on the internet like that, so I'll be missing some of this stuff. But I guess there's this question going around, or this movement going around, saying that brothers should avoid marrying single mothers. So if y'all listening, I guess this could be the next point that we jump to if somebody want to call in and answer this question. Should men avoid marrying single mothers? That's the question on the table right now. But don't forget that man up challenge. But the question is, should men avoid marrying single mothers? And shout out to Brother Rafa for bringing that up. Go ahead, B.A.
I don't have an issue with men marrying single mothers. I know the mother of my children. She had a child when I came into a relationship, so I don't oppose that. I think there's the kind of love you show for another child that doesn't belong to you, and you raise that child up. That is a beautiful thing to me. Let's look at the situation with Joseph. And no, Joseph was not the father, according to what we read when it comes to Christ. He was able to raise up a child that was not his. That simple. So I respect men who step up and raise children that don't belong to them. I think that kind of love is no question. That kind of love, that's love right there, and that's patience, and that's endurance. Only the Most High can put that type of love out there. That's love from the Most High, to be willing to push yourself in a situation to raise up a child that does not belong to you, and to deal with a woman who was somebody else's prior before you got to her, or before she came across you, or you came along, you came into her life, or vice versa. I have no issue with it. What about you, Art?
Man, you know I ain't got no issue with it. I agree with you 100%. First, based upon that example you gave for Christ. But I'm going to put this other part out here. This is the double standard that I see when it comes to us. A lot of us got children coming into this life, and we expect to find some woman that wants to help us raise our children. Not a bad thing. So to say that for this question to even be on the table, and yes, y'all, this is really a movement out there where people are trying to say, stay away from marrying single mothers. That this is even something that's being discussed, to me, is insanity. No, I don't see anything wrong with it. I think we have to grow up, Israel. We have to really, literally grow up. This is a nation that we are building. To think that you just going to move on and you all good, everything perfect, I'm never... Man, that's crazy. You know, do you realize the type of love and leadership and all of these qualities that you're missing out in your household by avoiding the quote-unquote single mother? To me, it sounds like you're scared. Now, if you want to say avoid a woman that's not walking according to Torah, that's different. But if you know that you have a single mother who is walking according to this walk, when we talk about that yalah, that walking with God, walking with the Most High, why would you avoid that? Why would you avoid something like that? So I don't have a problem with it at all. And if some brothers do have it, if there's a brother listening right now that has a problem with it, please call in. We're not going to beat you up. I just want to understand why this is something I just want to understand why this is a movement that's going on right now. Call in and let us know why this is something that's even on the table. You know, I understand everybody has their own preference. I get that, but to actually specifically say, "Oh, I'm not gonna marry a single mother," give us a call. You know, shout out, hit us up right quick and let us know what you think is. As long as you call in and be respectful, we'll be respectful back, and we'll even protect you from some of the people that may try to call in and get on your case. But I'm anxious to hear that if there's somebody out there that could call in and answer that question for me.
Sister Gabriella, anything you would like to add, or any comments, questions, or comments or observations?
I just want to say thank y'all for, addressing these issues because, I didn't see a lot of people stepping up to the plate, and it takes the brothers, this can do stuff and, we can help, but, it really takes the brothers to reach down and stand up for us. Y'all are our protection, so if we don't have y'all protecting us, then like you said, we're left out there to the wolves. And the Bible just constantly talks about the widows. It talks about the children. And there's so many single mothers in our nation, whether they're awake or not, and they're getting taken advantage of, And so for y'all to just at least address it, I appreciate y'all and I applaud y'all.
Well, thank you, sis. We thank you for coming out and actually speaking and sharing your experience and sharing the things that you have witnessed and other accounts that you may have heard from other people. When it comes to the relationship between men and women, it goes back to children. I've been talking about this the last couple of days with a few individuals. It's very important for children to understand the relationship they are supposed to have with the opposite or their counterpart. It's very important because when that child, when those children, little boys and girls, have that masculine and feminine presence in their household in the beginning stages of life, it helps them grow up. It helps them be more effective as human beings and more productive and build up their households. Even if the biological father's not there, just a man who walks into the situation and marries the single mother with children, that masculine presence is there, and it gives the children an advantage. It gives them something to understand, or they get a chance to at least feel how they get an understanding, and they feel how much of a difference it makes to have the masculine presence there. That is a common thing in Israel, not just those who know they Israel, but those who don't know they Israel. This has also been a common thing in the community, that fathers are not there and the mothers are left there to raise the children on their own.
Right.
Say it again?
Right, and even for my kids, after going from, congregation, Israelite congregation to congregation, when my kids saw how certain congregations treated us, they're like, well, Mom, we don't like them. They can't even look up to those men, when instead they should be like, oh, we really like them. We like that brother or we like that sister, Instead, they're even getting an idea that they don't even like the Israelite men, because of the way they treat us. And so it's important that you guys, act a certain way around these kids because they are looking up to y'all, especially the ones with no dad. They don't have nothing else to cleave to. So when they see how I'm treated by Israelite men, they see that too, and it's just a major influence for them. So I appreciate just any brothers that stand up in our faith and reach out to people that, they don't have to reach out to, and to help people that they don't have to help, but the Most High told you to. So, that's something my kids see.
Okay. All right, Sal, let's take it away to the callers if we have any. Sal?
All right, let's go to 951-210. You're live.
Shalom, shalom. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Says shalom.
Hi, how you doing? This is Marie J. Miller. Good evening, Brother B.A. and Brother Anonymous. I love your show. I listen to it all the time. And what I wanted to comment on is basically a woman's perspective on a man that marries a single mother. I've been married for 22 years, and I had children when I met my husband. And the fact that he came in, when you have children of your own, you love them automatically. When you love somebody else's children, you love them by choice. You know, and a woman who was in that situation and a man comes in and he takes some children under his wing and loves them freely and openly, there's such a respect that you have, you know, and a gratitude that you have for that person because they didn't have to do that. They didn't have to be with you and they didn't have to make that choice. With my husband, I had children, and you couldn't tell the difference. You couldn't tell which were his biologically and which ones, you know, weren't his biological children. Matter of fact, my oldest daughter was his shadow. We used to joke around and call it his mini wife because he couldn't leave the door without her, you know, on his heels. That's the type of father he was. So, like you said, it's a certain type of love. It's a different type of love, a love you chose to give, a love you gave freely instead of, you know, giving, you know, your own child being born and you just automatically love them. This is a love that you give freely from your heart, you know, and from your spirit. And I think that right there is one of the best kind of loves, you know, a child can receive. It's somebody coming from out the blue that doesn't have to have anything to do with them saying, I love you, and I'm going to take care of you, and I'm going to guide you, and I'm going to be there for you. You know, they feel important. They feel chosen. So with that, I yield, but that's from a woman's perspective who's a single mother who had a man come in and raise her children. They're grown now. My youngest is about to be 21. But all their life they had a man raise them who was not their biological and was just as much of a father to them as any of his children that he made. And with that, I'll yield.
Thank you, sis. We appreciate that. Thank you very much. Blessings to you. May the Most High continue to bless you and your household. Anybody else would like to share any comments on the on our sister who just called in?
I just want to say thank you to the sister for calling in. Shalom. Thank you for listening and supporting. And I'm not gonna read too many scriptures. I just want to point this out. As Israel, we tend to think that it's always just been us that the Most High chose and all of this stuff. And she brought up an interesting point about the love that it takes to choose to love someone, right? So we tend to forget that the Most High created all the sons of Adam, right? He created Adam, and then everything that came out of Adam was his creation. So it wasn't just Israel from the beginning that was just oh so special. Now, we were chosen, but we were chosen for a reason. We were chosen to show the nations what it is to be adopted into the family of the Most High, right? And if you don't believe that, we can turn to Deuteronomy 32. This is one of my favorite. This is rapidly becoming one of my favorite verses. Deuteronomy 32, 8 and 9. When the Most High divided the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. For the Lord's portion is his people, Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. That word portion means possession. So we are Yah's possession based upon how the nations got divided up. He chose us. And you can read that when you go to to Genesis 11. To Bereshit 11, you will see how the nations got divided, and then immediately he goes into talking about Abraham. They start dealing with Abraham. And then at Abraham, we go to Isaac. Then we go to Yaakov, who becomes Israel. And then from there, we get to Judah, which is where we know the Mashiach is supposed to come out of. And he did come out of that line. So we see this principle of adoption, this principle of taking one in and loving them with the love that he has loved us with. So how much more eager should we be to do the same? And I'll fall back.
You know, Gabriella, you want to chime in on the sister who just called in? Any comments?
No, but I appreciate her, giving her story and sharing that, men can step up and take care of these kids, but it's just a fair warning is that, if you are trying to get with a single mother or whatever, you got to give her time to, get to know who you are.
I'll just not fall back, but land back off what Anonymous was saying when it comes to Israel being chosen. Yes, Israel was chosen. That is true. Israel is the possession of the Most High. That is true. But it's Israel who chooses, key word, chooses to do right. See, because we have individuals in this community who teach, well, as long as you Israel, you're covered. No. That's not the case. Because if that was the case, that first generation would have came out of the wilderness. We're going to go to Deuteronomy chapter 30. We read this before. Hold on for a second. But it's Israel who's supposed to do right. Why do you think at the resurrection we have 144,000 Israelites who are going to be on the council? Think about it. The judgment seat, only 144,000. Think about that. Not all of Israel are going to be saved. I'm not scared to say that. Deuteronomy chapter 30. Look over verse 19. This is Moses, the great legislator and governor of Israel. I call heaven and earth to record this day against you, that I have set before you life and death, blessing and cursing. Therefore choose life, that both thou and thy seed may live, that thou mayest love the Lord thy God. See, when you choose life, that shows the Most High that you love him, because he is life, right? And that thou mayest obey his voice, and that thou mayest cleave unto him, for he is thy life. Life, the Most High is life. Is he not the one that blew life into the breath of the body of Adam? Think about that. And the length of thy days, that thou mayest dwell in the land which the Lord sware unto thy fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give them. Why did he swear to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob? He just didn't swear to them because they were melanated. No. He swore to them because these are men of integrity. These are men who understood who he was, and they loved him, and they were obedient. Abraham was obedient. Genesis chapter 18 says, for I know him, and he will teach his children to keep my commandments. Who are the children of Abraham? Isaac and Jacob. They kept the commandments. They understood what the Most High was bringing to the table. Torah didn't start with Moses. Let's go to John real quick. John chapter 5. We'll keep talking about this word life. Let's look at this. Let's look at life. Let's talk about life. John chapter 5. Let's pick up verse 23. That all men shall honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honoreth not the Son honoreth not the Father, which shall have sent him. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, and now is when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they that hear shall live. For as the Father hath life in himself, so hath he given to the Son to have life in himself. Life. But why is it that Christ has life in him? Because he chose to be obedient. It also says, I think it's in the Apostles, that Christ was obedient to the death. And that's why if you notice that Christ is also going to be part of that remnant that's going to be at the first resurrection, or those who are going to be in that judgment, judging the rest of the world and judging the nations when the Most High intervenes again. Let's go to Matthew chapter 17. We're just going to keep going. Another example. Matthew chapter 17. And we're going to pick it up at verse 1. And after 6 days, Yeshua, or Christ, taketh Peter, James, and John, his brother, and bringeth them into a high mountain apart, and was transfigured before them. And his face did shine as the sun, and his raiment was white as light. And behold, there appeared unto them Moses, Elias, talking with him. Now, why would Moses and Elias be there, or Elijah? Why would they be there? These are individuals who are known to be the Most High's chosen. They were Israel, and they were obedient. Moses represents the law. Elijah represents the prophets. These are individuals who chose. Hold on, who else was transfigured? Christ was transfigured as well. These are individuals who did the will of the Most High. They were humble and they were meek. That's M-E-E-K. Look up that word. Far from weakness. Allowing the Most High to oppose his will upon them, and to be just, and to be righteous, and to be occupied with his doings, of his will, acting upon things according to how the Most High called it, to where they allowed the Most High to be number one in their lives. These three individuals who I just read about are part of the remnant, are going to be part of the remnant and part of the council who's going to judge the nations when the Most High intervenes one more time, when the kingdom of heaven fills the earth, spoken by the prophets. Anybody else want to chime in?
Man, I'm just gonna let you know. You brought up the verses. That's the hot button for some of these cats that try to say Christ gave false prophecies, or he was doing witchcraft, or whatever. And I just challenge people to read their Torah first off, and you can see a lot of the similarities between Christ and Moshe. That's just a side note. But you can clearly see this one need for obedience. That was Philippians 2:8 when he was talking about Christ being obedient unto death. But you can also see the need, especially throughout the entire text, the need for adoption, the need for this merging of other lives. Even if we go back to Genesis, to the garden, if y'all don't realize, we know based upon Job that the angels were already created. So when y'all decided to make man, you're seeing a blending of two families. You're seeing the merging of two families. You're seeing the celestial and the terrestrial actually being merged together. That's what that is. This is Yah making a blended family right before our eyes, but we don't even understand it. I guess that's too deep, or the weightier matters. And some people say that they don't even believe in the spirit world, which is, I don't know how you can read the Tanakh and not believe in that, but that's a whole nother story. But what you're seeing is the blending of two families, of Yah's family, his heavenly family and his earthly family. So this single mother thing, I don't know. And Sister Gabriella, she brought out a great point about being patient. That's any relationship. Don't just think because she's a single mother or you messing with a single mother that you should be patient. You should be patient with a woman, period. Take your time and get to know that woman. Know what makes her tick. Know her heart. Know her mind, her body, her soul. So that way you can add to her what she needs and vice versa. That's what leaders do. Leaders empower. I think we spoke about this before. You call yourself a leader, then you should be empowering whoever it is that you're choosing to marry. Like, that's what it's all about. When the Most High created us, he didn't just create us and say, oh, you know, that's it. Now just sit under my thumb. He empowered us, gave us dominion over this earth. Go out and multiply. Take over that thing. Why wouldn't you want to do that with your mate that you meet that's trying to keep Torah? Because she has some children? That's even more of a chance for you to be a leader and to empower her and those children. I don't even know why we're having this conversation, but the fact that this is what we have to deal with, then let's deal with it. Our women are crying out, and now it's time for us to address it. So, excellent verses, Art. That was powerful.
Thank you, Art. Praise the Most High. Yo, Sal, we got any more callers?
Yep, let's go to the next call. Let's go to 678-615. You're live.
Hey, shalom, Brother B.A. and Brother Anonymous. And the sister is online, Sister Gabrielle. This is Brother Rafah.
Yo, much love, Art. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. So I just managed to get some time, from away from work kind of a little bit and stuff there, but definitely doing this segment and I had one first of all I had wanted to comment on what on the first part where you was talking about how basically the whole overall attitude of the Hebrew community and stuff, and it's basically when we look at the Hebrew community overall, it's like compared to like the Christian community, it's like Sunday Christians, they got one up on us stuff as far as like the Christian spirit and conduct and so forth. And I remember I once knew the sister online who, well, she used to be is to, but she ended up like leaving. She basically ended up leaving it to. She got caught up with some New Age madness and stuff because she was saying, well, the way that like Hebrew way that we were acting, well, not we per se, but the way like she saw witnessed a lot of Hebrews acting online and stuff, as far as attitude, like just like you were saying, the whole like the curse people out and just talking down on people. It just so that caused her to get turned off by the movement and turn to like some foolish shit, like the New Age stuff. But and it's like we really got to do better. It was got to do better. And also, I mean, when we look at the Christians, like I said, they got one up on us. They have you got ministries that have outreach centers and stuff. Outreach centers, food pantries. You know what I mean? Now the ministry that I'm part of, we're about trying to like to establish that, but it's like it's because that we're so that's why you got these. It's one of the reasons why we got these Christian apologist groups, coming up and basically like.
All right, what you doing in there?
Convincing brothers and sisters.
No, what you doing in that back? Touch something in there, okay?
Hello. Hello.
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm saying, and that's one of the reasons why we all just like you exactly what you said, brother. We so hung up on using the Bible as a tool to cut people all the time, and so hung up on having knowledge and stuff, and camp banging and all this other stuff, and where you got these. Yeah, see, this is one of the reasons why you got these Christian apologist groups coming up, and convincing like brothers and sisters, okay, the law is done away with, and Christians that come back to like pagan Christianity. So you know who they are, but it's like we got to do better than and we got to step up, but it's not looking really it's not looking good for us overall. And another thing, and address this the whole thing about the brothers online that's saying that you can't have we shouldn't date a single mother with children. I want to say that I want to point out, first of all, I want to state where I stand at. Now these brothers, I won't put their names out, because the reason I won't put their names out is because they chose to go online and put themselves out there and tell people, tell brothers and stuff here. But what I'm saying is that you should operate. There's always exceptions to the rules, and you should look at every situation. Like if you're dealing with if you're like interested in a sister who you're considering to spend the rest of your life with, and raise the children, you should like examine the situation on a case by case basis, and like seek, and all of them seek divine counsel on both sides. Give yourself a prayer and assist your soul and fasting so you can guide you and to let you know, okay, well, is this a good, should I deal with this sister or should I not deal with the brothers that I listened to? So they were like, when I listened to, they were operating on 100% carnal mind level and stuff. And I'm saying some of the things that they were saying. They're saying that the base night, all that the single mothers are good for is to have a sexual relationship with. They're only good for being concubines and stuff. And brothers that choose to like take on a single mother are simps and borderline effeminate. So this is the matter that you're talking about. And I don't want to put their names out there because they chose to put themselves online. As one is called, his name, I think, by mistake, Black Rob 313. The other one is Ringo. So, but I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy and stuff. But I mean, that's pretty much what I have to say about that. And I mean, it's really needs to stress on me. I'm glad your brothers are doing this segment, and this definitely needs to be revisited well. So in the next season. But I think that's pretty much all I got to say off the top of my head.
Thank you, Brother Rafar. We appreciate your words, brother. We got a chance to talk to Brother Rafar behind the scenes, and he brought up some things, some concerns that he saw as a brother in his faith, and what he sees based on his personal experience. There's some things that he's witnessed that he would like to hear talk about. And that I agree with him on that. We have to get to a point to where if we're going to be this respected nation of people and we're supposed to be this light to the world, we need to be a light. So that means every now and then we're going to have to have these discussions to talk about these hard topics. I mean, it's that simple. Certain things, a lot of things have to be talked about. And today, this is one of those topics to where things have to be brought out and we got to deal with it. Or at least we can spark something to where we can go back in our own personal lives and get something going. Hopefully those who are listening live and those who are listening on the archive on Blog Talk Radio and on the YouTube channel, hopefully they could take this information back home and listen to it and share it with others. And maybe this, Most High willing, those who choose to hear it and adhere to it, that it helps them in their household. It helps others in their household. As soon as we get this, as soon as this recording is done, I'm gonna share it all over the place. That simple. Anybody else? Gabriella, you got anything to say?
I got another brother on the line with me because he wants to call in, and he just appreciates y'all bringing this stuff out, and I appreciate that brother just being observant and speaking out for, the problems that we see that we're not really addressing, you know what I'm saying? And it's a very big subject, the women and the children, you know what I'm saying? We're being left out here to be taken advantage of. And the more we talk about it, the more we talk about what we're supposed to be doing for our nation, the more we should really put action behind it. So he appreciates y'all doing this show, and I really appreciate y'all. So just thank you. I appreciate everything y'all been talking about, all the scripts. I want that Exodus script. The brother brought out about Most High going to make your wife a widow. If you oppress the widow. So I want that one at the end.
That's Exodus 22.
22, okay, got it.
Yeah. Anonymous, any questions or comments or anything you want to expound on? Any scriptures to touch on or anything else within this topic that we may have missed?
No, I think we covered it all. I want to address one thing. I try to stay away from this topic because I know we go through it a lot behind the scenes, but I'm just going to put this out there, this whole thing that because we support women, we're feminists or something like that. I'm going to be straight up. First off, and Sal can confirm this if y'all need more witnesses, the BA can, but if y'all need an outside source other than me and BA, Sal can confirm this. I spend hours a day on the phone with brothers trying to get things organized with various brothers on both sides of the fence, quote-unquote Torah observant or Torah centered, as well as those that believe in the New Testament Messiah. And yes, I also support and spend time with trying to help the sisters as well. So this notion that because brothers spend time talking about or empowering our sisters who have been beat down in this captivity is ridiculous, and it shows not only your level of ignorance but your level of insecurity. We can't build a nation without our sisters, y'all. And even if we bring the sisters in and start building a nation, if we don't take the time and heal them and empower them, now we built a nation full of damaged children. We all come into this thing damaged. So we all have to take the time to heal each other. Right? This is a family. This is a group of people that we are trying to build up. So to try to browbeat a brother because he is trying to build up women by calling him a feminist, number one, you don't know what feminist means. Number two, guess what? We ain't going to stop. So it is what it is, and we love our sisters. And I know I speak for BA in saying you will always have a voice on this platform as long as the Most High allows us to keep going. I'm going to fall back because there's another brother that I think is trying to get through, and I'm trying to work it out.
Yes, sir. Man, and again, when it comes to feminism, feminism is a doctrine. I'll say it again. It is a doctrine where women believe they don't need any men. That's the basic fundamentals of feminism. We're not promoting that. We are trying to go back to the proper Torah perspective, to where men and women are equals and they are one body united under the Most High. We always talk about, well, what does it say in the Torah? Or I'm Torah this, I'm Torah that, I keep Torah. Well, let's start keeping it. Let's start acting upon it. And let's put our sisters back in their rightful place as the Ezer. The Ezer is to help. You don't dominate and rule over your help. She helps you. It's that simple. Yeah. I think we may be having some technical difficulties at this moment. So let me just do a radio check and just see if Sal, if he's still here, because we're having some slight technical difficulties. So, Sal, you still there? Can you hear me? Can you be heard? Is your microphone on point right now?
Yeah, you guys can hear me? Radio check?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, we having. It seems like we're having some problems. Some people saying they're pressing number 1, and it's not showing up on the queue. So do me a favor to send me an email at debatetalkforyou@gmail.com, or if you're on my social media, if you're a friend of mine on social media already, just hit me up, let me know. I think Blog Talk Radio is having some issues with the number 1 button at this time. But again, to send me an email as an alternative, or just send me a message in the inbox on social media, and I'll bring you in. I'll look for your number and have you say a few words to people.
Okay. And for those who are out there who know me personally, and if you're having issues with your phone, contact me. We could chime you in so you can ask your questions or put out your comments or your observations or things that stand out to you or whatever it is you're willing to share. Just want to make sure that we see Blog Talk Radio is having some minor issues, and we will most definitely would love to hear what the audience has to say concerning this topic. This is a community discussion. We need to have this type of talk. We don't do them that often because sometimes we get sidetracked with other things, like when it comes to defending the faith. I believe it's a beautiful thing that Israel wants to get up and defend the faith, and I think that's beautiful. I have nothing against that. I just think sometimes it's how we go about it. We kind of get things get out of hand. But one thing I would like to see is more evangelizing, and we do see that from time to time. It happens often in the community where we go out and we teach and we try to bring people into the fold, let them hear the gospel and what the gospel brings to the table, how important it really is for those who are struggling. But I would like to see the gospel being preached with love. I would like to see the gospel being preached where people understand that the good news is there for those who are oppressed. They hear about this new kingdom that's going to come and overtake and destroy the wicked iniquities or the wicked just way of the wicked way of rule. Get tongue-tied, I apologize. So the gospel is the good news of the coming kingdom that is to come. God's righteous government, his establishment. And I see when brothers do evangelize, they're a little too militant. We have to kind of tone it down a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with going out and speaking loud and being proud and being excited about preaching the word. But I think we'd be more effective if we tone down the mean streak of way of doing things and actually present ourselves in a different way when we're talking to people. The gospel or the word of God or the Torah should not be used as a sword to cut people. When you use it as a sword, no one's going to want to do it. Nobody's going to want to keep it. No one wants to get involved because it was never meant to be used as a sword. It's meant to be a light to those so they can see it, so they can be influenced or provoked to do the same thing that you're doing. That's if you're doing it correctly. So when we go about from day to day, remember, we are examples. And we have a responsibility. If we claim to know this God, the supreme intellect, if we understand what he brings to the table, we should be proud examples, living examples. And we want people to come into the fold because the Most High is showing them what he's doing in our lives. But we're going about arguing, calling each other names, going around cursing and saying all these crazy comments that could be very ungodly. You're going to turn more people away, and they're not going to want to come into the fold because you're not right. And the way you're acting is not on point. So, yeah. we got one caller. Okay, Sal, let's, if you don't mind, let's go to that caller.
All right, Chris, you on the line. Yeah, Chris.
Hey, what up, BA? What up, Anonymous?
What's going on, Ray?
Hey, how y'all doing? Hey, good show tonight. Hey, the first thing, I want to sit here and say is Anonymous on the line?
Yeah, I'm here. Shalom. I was just trying to let you talk.
Hey, look, it was tough between me and you at first, wasn't it? We was banging on each other like gang members over the phone, wasn't we? Arguing with each other, but after the trial, what did you say? You said, man, you see we got a lot more in common than what you think we know, don't you? Didn't you say that? Didn't you say that?
Right. Yeah,
exactly. So it's not, like I said, it's not about, I don't think it should be about theological differences anymore. You know what I'm saying? Just like when Sal is ready, me and you going to get in here, and we're going to break down this lesson on henotheism and a couple of other topics. See, right now, me and Anonymous are building. We're building. We're not destroying one another. We're not tearing each other down. That's not what this walk is about. You understand what I'm saying? See, it's called the light of the Torah. It said that all knees shall come and worship at his holy mountain. See, you have to find a light. The light don't come looking for you. You understand what I'm saying? This is why he said be a light to the Gentiles. This is what he wanted us to do. You see what I'm saying? This is what the man in the New Testament was teaching. The one they called Jesus. He was teaching everybody be a light to the Gentiles. You see? And nobody picks up on this. We're always talking about the virgin births and other things of that nature. But we're not talking about loving each other. He brought that up too. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to give y'all a quick point, and I'm going to let y'all get back to y'all show. Me and my friend Nehemia, we're creating an online dictionary, free of charge. We have over 450 books in our online registry right now where people can go in there and look at it. We haven't got the domain set all up, but we're working on the final touches. A guy starts teasing me saying, you're cursed. You can't do that type of stuff. He said, show me in the Torah where you can sit up there and build homes and the infrastructure. So I simply said, okay, let's go to Jeremiah 29, 1 through 5. And then he starts the game of semantics. He starts playing and starts insulting me. You know, Jeremiah 29, 25, when they went 29, 1 through 6, where it says build your own homes and your own vineyards. The Most High said you guys are going to be in this captivity for a long time to build your own infrastructure. So what he started doing was insulting me and teasing me. I said, see, this is our problem as a people. We can't even come together under a prophet, let alone Jesus. This is why he said, y'all didn't even listen to the prophet, so I know y'all ain't going to listen to me. And so he quoted that perfectly. And this is the problem. See, we stuck under doctrine and philosophy and theology, and we don't love one another. He told us in the book of Matthew, if you love one another, you'll fulfill the whole law. You'll walk in the law if you just do that. So, yeah, I sound a little excited right now because you begin to see the light of the things that which all the prophets were teaching. But the problem is our people still walking in darkness. You see what I'm saying? Our people aren't reading. Our people aren't studying. Our people aren't meditating. Our people are looking at each other, ready to draw the sword on each other over the book. That's not what you're supposed to do. I tell everybody, don't focus on the curses. Let's focus on not sinning. So like I said, me and Anonymous was at each other's throats. But look at us now. Me and him talking about building now. You know what I'm saying? Receiving each other in love. That's what this is about. You know what I'm saying? Let's put the petty stuff away, man. With that, what I want to say is all praises to the Most High. Shout out to Sal. Y'all better get out there and donate to the show. I know I haven't donated in a while, so I sound like a hypocrite. And shout out to BA. Keep the shows coming. Remember, y'all got to be able to spot false doctrine and know when it's time to pull out. Because a lot of people teach our women this stuff and they teaching our brothers this stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And they fall into confusion. The Most High said, it's the leaders of my people that cause them to err. This is why he gave charge to the priests, and they failed. So let's get these lessons, let's get some positive debates, and let's keep it going. With that being said, shalom, brothers. I'm out.
Shalom, Mark.
Man, shalom, Brother Harris. Powerful words.
Peace. Peace.
Let me say something real quick, BA, because I know we got some callers that we got to get to.
Yep.
Y'all do not know what the Most High is doing in people's lives, right? And now, true enough, there comes a time where you got to stand for whatever it is you believe in. But this is not This is not the Bloods versus the Crips, right? This is soul salvation, and so in that, sometimes we get zealous, but then after that, there's always a time where we have to be able to sit down and reason with each other, and that's what we're talking about, especially when it comes to our women and our children and our widows, like our fathers and our women and our widows. We have to be able to sit down as men and reason and work this thing out, because the Torah, as well as the Gospels when we're dealing with Yeshua, and Paul's writings, if you really want to go into it, it's teaching you the same principles. Albeit Paul's writings are very difficult to understand, it's teaching you how to unite this thing and bring this thing together. So I thank that brother for calling in. I thank him for his words. And I'm excited about the summer and going into next season. And I'll yield with that.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Let's go. I guess let's go to the next line of callers.
I think Sal said he had to step away real quick.
Okay.
Let me ask you something, BA.
Yeah.
Because you witnessed and heard a lot of stuff that was going on with Brother Harris and me and with all of us. But to hear that brother saying the things that he's saying now, like, isn't that to you a testament of what this word can do and is doing in all of our lives?
Yeah, it shows that if you allow the Spirit and the Word to convict you, to check you, and to push you back in, and to put us back in our place. Because if we're going to be going around calling ourselves all these type of titles, we're going to have to start acting right. And for what I see from Brother Harris is that I see a change. And we'll continue to keep him in prayer, and the Most High willing. You know what I'm saying? That whatever journey that the Most High has him on, that he gets there and he continues to do the things he's doing to bring people into the truth or to light or whatever you want to call it. So but we have to remember, we have to choose to do right. We have to want the Most High to do these things for us. We have to want him to work in our lives, to be witnesses, so we can be motivating to other people. And what I see from Brother Harris is it seems like he has gotten to a point to where he doesn't want to fight no more. Because after a while, that word, it's not good. It wears on you. We see plenty of people who want to fight. That's religious entertainment. That is all-out religious entertainment, what I see nowadays. And we do not want to entertain people. No, especially when their life is on the line, when salvation is on the line. We are living in the last days, people. The Most High is about to intervene. And I'm not going to give you no date because I don't know no dates. But the signs are there. We see what's going on. We see the behaviors of society. We see the behaviors of our leaders. We see how the system is. We see what's going on. And it's time for us as the light of the world, or those who are striving to be that light. It's time for us to get on track and to start really living the ways of the Most High, which we understand to be Torah. That simple. So, Sal, I guess we can go to the next line of callers.
All right, let's go to 270-402. You're live.
Shalom.
Oh, shalom.
How are you guys tonight?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. This is my first time tuning in. Just want to say I appreciate what you guys are doing. Definitely motivating us newcomers, and basically showing us we're not alone.
Most def. Go ahead, sis. Go ahead.
Just wanted to touch on the topic you guys were talking about as far as our own putting our own down, basically. I mean, I see it as long as we're following the Torah or Moses, which one you want to follow in. We're all basically coming to the same thing. We should put our knowledge together instead of, battling each other, debating, whatever you want to call it. It's just basically tearing us down still. It's basically Satan still overcoming what we're trying to accomplish. If we are to come united and stand together, then that's what we need to do. And maybe it's just a difference of what one might think, something should have been what another would think. But at the end of the day, we should stay united, build each other up. You might have a debate with someone, but just overcome it. Like the last brother was talking about, it's stressful to sit here and keep debating with people over and over again about something that you're not going to get an ending to, that you would be satisfied with. Just kind of grow with each other, basically. That's what we're here to do.
Well, thank you, sis. We didn't catch your name. What's your name?
I'm sorry?
We didn't catch your name, sister. What's your name and where you calling from?
I'm calling from Kentucky. My name is Leah.
Well, nice to meet you, sis. We appreciate you coming on.
You as well.
Most definitely. Keep up the good work. Stay in prayer and stay motivated.
Thank you. You as well.
All right, shalom.
Thanks. Thanks for calling in, sis.
All right, ready for the next caller? We got two more standing by.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's go to 901-364. You're live.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, what's going on?
First of all, praise God in the name of His Son, Jesus Christ. Peace and blessing to the brothers and sisters on the panel and all the listening audience. Special blessing to you, Brother Sam, for doing what you do. My question was kind of off topic, and after hearing everything the brothers can say, I really don't even want to interrupt. I hate I was still even in the queue, Sam, because, like I said, the brothers bringing so much good information, I don't even want to interrupt with the question I had because it's totally off topic. It was just something one of the brothers said.
Well, you could yield. You could yield if you want. You could yield. You could yield if you want to, brother.
Okay, well, yeah. Yeah. Let's do that. Let me yield then, Sam.
Hey, brother. Hey.
Go ahead.
Just email Sal a question, and then we could hit you up in the email, and we'll get back to you.
Okay, all right. Leave your email address, Sal.
It's debate talk, the number 4, letter U, @gmail.com. Debate talk for you @gmail.com. All right?
Okay, appreciate that, man.
Appreciate your call, man. Appreciate that. Well, most definitely. Appreciate you, man. All right, let's go to the next caller. Let's see. 678-615, alive.
Hey, Shalom family. So it's me again, Surprise. I had wanted to make a couple more comments based on what your brothers had just put out. The first one was about the latter one was about we was talking about how the camps know to be operating when they the way they're coming off with this military this militant attitude and how they're so overbearing and one thing that and they always quote Isaiah 58:1 says cry aloud and spare not, lift your voice like a trumpet. But and I always noticed this for years. I always noticed that there was this one verse that they never quote. Not even the less militant, because I never even heard them even quote the scripture. I think it's in because I don't have the Bible in front of me. I think it's Matthew 10:14, somewhere around there, where it says where Christ says, "Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves." I'm gonna say it again: "Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves." And I think a lot of these camps, that's what they overlook. So they never quote that verse. And I thought I'd just add that, to what I think it was Brother B.A. had mentioned earlier. And also another thing I had wanted to add is about the about to marry the baby, the single mother situation with getting with a single mother. Hope I haven't lost my train of thought. I'm reminded of the scripture. Even Christ said this, and it is what he says. Like it talks about what he says, like judge righteous, judging righteously, we're not supposed to be looking on the outward appearance, right? Just because you see, a single mother wouldn't know with a couple of kids, you want to just like completely rule her out. Okay, just X her off immediately, just because based on what you see with your eyes and stuff. But he said, judge. We're supposed to be judging righteously. We're supposed to be like examining situation. You're supposed to be operating like beyond the natural, operating the spirit and stuff. So that's what we got to be mindful of. Brothers got to be mindful of. It's like, not looking the way that carnal men see. Look, the way that carnal men see. But we're supposed to be operating like spiritually. So I thought I'd just add that as well. So, but yeah, we're supposed to be like, we got to be mindful to judge righteously and not by the outward appearance. So that's all I had. I'm going to say now.
Well, thank you, Brother Afar. We appreciate you again. All right. Much love to you.
Okay. No problem. No problem. Take care.
That's all the callers. I think that's it. But anybody else, like I said, the number's 319-527-6239. We have 15 minutes on the air, though. We have 15 more minutes on the air. So once again, if you have any questions, press number 1 and we'll add you to the conversation. Okay, I see somebody press number 1. Let's go to them. Let's go to 716-833. You're live.
Thank you, Sal Showtime, and Brother B.A. and Brother Anonymous. This is Sister Doris. And I would just like to say to the sister that there is no condemnation. Like the brother just called in and said that, when people try and judge you, they have to do it righteously. And they're not doing that. And it shouldn't be a stigma. You know what I mean? I just want to say to her that maybe you chose your child's father and God didn't. So you just be patient and you just wait. See, you might have chose him. Because I'm a firm believer in that nothing happens unless the Most High lets it happen. You know what I mean? And for them to try and, make her feel bad or anyone else, it's not biblical. And I would like you guys' response on that.
No, I agree. Brothers who are calling themselves to be in the truth should not be looking down at other people who are in a situation different than theirs. You're going to do more shunning people away than anything else. So, judge. What does it say? Judge not unless you be judged first. So, I would say to these brothers who have leadership positions or they're in these roles in these camps, proclaiming some type of authority, you are to correct the wrong you see, but you are not supposed to beat people down because they have a different lifestyle or they've come from a different walk of life. You got to remember, we were not perfect when we came into this walk either. So when brothers get to a point to where they stop eating swine flesh, and when they start wearing fringes, when they start keeping the Sabbath, and they got some type of Hebrew understanding, all of a sudden, all type of reasoning goes out the window. You're not a human being no more. Like I said, you become a religious zombie. And how we know that? Because we have various amounts of people who are walking away from these camps, and they're either going back to Christendom, or they're walking away from the faith completely because somebody didn't have enough understanding to be carrying. And what you were doing, you decided to use your word or your pearl as a sword to hurt somebody because you promote yourself to be some type of figure in the community. because you can teach and break down a couple of scriptures, and your attitude was foul. We got way too much of this going on in the community. I'm going to fall back. I'm going to let Anonymous and then we'll have Sister Gabriella respond to that if she would like to.
I just want to say thank you, Sister Doris, for calling in. I always know when I hear that voice, we're going to get some type of wisdom, so I thank the sister for calling in. I'm just going to read Matthew 7:5. Thou hypocrite, first cast out the beam out of thy own eye, and then shalt thou see clearly to cast out the mote out of thy brother's eye.
Amen.
I'm not saying all these brothers is doing it, but it's a great portion of them running around and can't get that beam out their own eye. So thank you, sister, for calling in, and thank you for encouraging this sister on the phone. We need sisters like you to continue to do this because it means more coming from y'all than it does coming from brothers like me and BA. So thank you, sister.
Gabriella, you still there?
Yeah, I am.
You got anything you want to say now?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you, for showing me love because, I did choose a wicked man. I mean, I was in the world, and I didn't know better. I thought that's my boyfriend, I'm pregnant, I'm supposed to keep the kid, and then coming into this truth, I thought I would, not be looked at, in the world, oh, this girl's got all these kids. I thought, people might be like, oh, well, at least you kept them. At least they're not up for adoption. At least you didn't abort them. At least you're taking care of them.
That's right.
But instead, the opposite is true. You get people either trying to take advantage of me, completely because of what I look like or whatever they think, oh, I'm stupid or I have all these kids or something. I have people in the truth actually trying to take advantage of me. I don't have sisters coming at me like, oh, sis, let me help you. It's more like, oh, too bad. You should have took that birth control. And that's in the truth.
Ain't that so?
Yeah, and so, just for you to stand up for another sister, that's just much appreciated. I appreciate it, what I'm saying, because I don't have a mom like that. So, y'all sisters are my sisters and my mothers, so I just appreciate the love. I just want to let you know that.
Amen.
Yeah, thank you again, Sister Doris. We appreciate your words. Anything you would like to say before we move on?
No, I like you said, this is something that needs to be discussed. You know what I mean? It's rampant with the Israelites, and I applaud my sister. You know what I mean? Because the Bible says, "Suffer all of the little children to come unto me." He ain't say some, few, many. He said all, and that's all I want to say.
Thank you, Sister Doris. You most definitely are appreciated. We appreciate your words and your wisdom and your understanding that the Most High has put upon you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to say, a sister like that, when y'all brothers do organize, we're going to need sisters like her, with wisdom and with compassion for people. She's very much needed.
Most def. Sal, we got any more callers?
No more callers standing by. We have 8 minutes on the air. Go ahead.
Okay, I guess we'll get ready to wind down. Sister Gabriella, you want to do some closing statements before we close out, rather?
I just, want to say thank you for letting me talk. I know I'm not very good at, talking on the air and stuff, but I appreciate letting me speak because there's a lot of girls out there in this truth that are getting abused and taken advantage of and just mistreated, and then they have no one to tell, and they're just going by the wayside. So if I could speak for them, that's what I hope that I was here for, just for everybody, that all the women, all the children that are getting taken advantage of when we come in this truth, I feel like it's a voice that's not really heard, and I appreciate y'all letting me talk.
Thank you, sis. We appreciate it. And like I said, we know you, and we know you in the behind the scenes and keep in touch. We most definitely will continue to keep you in prayer and those sisters in prayer. And most high willing, the light will be shown to us on how to go about this and correct these abuses that are going on in the community that are being unnoticed. And it's being unnoticed because there's a lack of love. When love shall wax cold, that means that people are choosing not to love. And I'm going to fall back. I'm going to allow Anonymous to close out, and we're going to call it a night.
First, I want to give all praise to the Most High, God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, obviously acknowledging his unique creation, the monogenes, the one that we know as Jesus the Christ, or Yahusha, Yeshua, HaNazari, the Nazarene. I want to thank the sister for calling in and sharing her story. I want to encourage you, Gabriella, do not give up. Stay on this battlefield. It's hard for all of us. And so we will all fight and we will bear one another's burdens. So stay in touch with us. And we are working to create that council and that leadership council on both sides, the male and the female side, that we can have things to bring us all through, because we all need some type of prayer and help and assistance in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Once again, I want to reiterate, there is a man-up challenge on the floor for the brothers to go ahead and over this summer, let's get this thing right. Let's unite, let's reach out, let's work, and let's build, and let's make this thing happen. I want to thank Brother B.A. for bringing me into this. I was content to just be a caller, and he stayed on me and got me involved, and this is the best thing that I've been able to do for the Most High, and I'm eternally grateful for that. I want to thank Brother Sal for providing this platform, because this is the last show of the season, but the Most High willing, we will be back. Also, look for us over the summer. Sal has given us the green light to go ahead and do a couple of hangouts and things like that on the Debate Talk for You platform, so we are excited for the different things that we'll be able to do over the summer. I also just want to tell everybody out there, continue to pray for us and continue to keep building, because there are some things that Brother B.A. and I are trying to do, and it is upsetting the enemy, to say the least. But we're going to keep going, and we're going to go unapologetically with no fear. So we need for y'all to keep praying, and we'll keep praying for y'all. And finally, keep Sal in y'all prayers. Please donate to the platform. Continue to stay on this fight. Continue to stay in this fight, because, like I said, the powers of darkness do not like what we're doing. But we're going to get this thing right as a body, as a corporate body. We're going to do it. I want to say shalom, mishpachah, peace, family. We love all of y'all. Toda, thank you for calling in. Thank you for supporting. And have a good summer. Have a good, a good focused summer. And when we come back next season, hopefully, y'all willing, we will bring exciting new concepts into this. And just keep praying. Keep our sisters, keep our brothers, keep the widows, keep the fatherless, keep the poor and the stranger in your prayers, and keep building Israel. We love y'all. Shalom.
Shalom.